Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. The return of the COD League. We're 2 games in, and we're about to get underway with Game 3. Benson and Chance to bring you all of the action for what I'm sure is going to be a fantastic series. Huntsmen versus Minnesota Røkkr. And I want to kick things off with our game fuel keys to victory for the Chicago Huntsmen. And one of the big ones, Chance, straight off the rip, is shut down GodRx, or as he's widely renowned to now, GoatRx.
Okay, well, that's the first I've ever heard of that, so I don't know how widely he's known about that.
Oh, the Minnesota Røkkr fans, they'll let you know it's GoatRx now.
Okay, well, there are like some actual goats on the other team.
This is true.
Okay, anyway, we don't have to get into that debate. GodRx has been disgusting this year. There's been no doubts about that. I think a lot of people probably have him in the top 5. I have not personally solidified my list, but he's certainly in contention. Yeah, sure, shut him down. He's a man that's going to put up big numbers, but really, I would go a different direction. I would be trying to shut down Alex and Asim. I would be going after the SMGs, though, if that were me. But, hey, you know, dealer's choice. Try to shut one down, someone else will go off. Who knows?
Fair enough. Our game fuel keys to victory for Minnesota Røkkr, though, we'll take a look at those. And, Chance, obviously, you mentioned there's some actual goats there on the Huntsmen. But in terms of our keys to victory, Chicago, weak on hardpoint, focus on it, and attack. Of course, Minnesota Røkkr, one of few teams to beat Atlanta FaZe this season. So I'm expecting good things this series. I'm not sure about yourself in terms of predictions, Chance, but this should be a good one.
I mean, this would be, if this were a complete land scenario, as perfect as it could possibly be. I would definitely lean Chicago because they've only lost 1 series, but it would still be close because of how good the Røkkr have been. Now that it's like switched to online, I think this is an advantage for like the Røkkr, if anything. They don't have to deal with the crowd that's going to be in favor of the Huntsmen. And of course, they don't have to deal with the Lanimals necessary on Chicago because it's tougher to get in that mindset. So anyone out there that's picked the Røkkr, I would feel a little bit better about that choice than I usually would.
Fair enough. I mean, in terms of CDL points, it's 90 to Huntsmen. It's 70 to Røkkr. It's such a close series. I mean, their overall KD, I believe, is exactly the same at 1.05. There's a quick glance at your quick scope. And again, Chance, I'm expecting a fantastic series. I really am. You can see our maps and modes presented by the U.S. Air Force there. For me, we've already had, we had a Game 5, Round 11. The last series went Game 5. Why not have 3 in a row, right, Chance?
I'm all on board for the Game 5, Benz. The more Game 5 Round 11s that we have, the better. That's always been my opinion. But when you talk about the map layout we actually have, I think it's Ramaza Hardpoint first and then Gunrunner for the domination. Those are 2 maps I think we've yet to see Chicago play in on, quote, land that we've seen so far this year. So a little bit of a mix-up for those guys. We'll see them some fresh maps. And then that Game 4 and Game 5, well, these 2 teams have played in the past. Chicago beat them on both the Game 4 and Game 5 maps fairly convincingly as well, which means the Røkkr, well, they're going to need to get out to a very hot start.
Yes, they will. I know you mentioned a few players, but for me, all eyes on GodRx if you're a Minnesota Røkkr fan. And shout out to Minnesota Røkkr. I'm not sure if they're doing their watch parties right now. Maybe doing them online, of course. Definitely not in person.
Discord, pretty sure.
Well, if they are, shout out to everyone watching the games. Hopefully you have had a fun day so far. And we'll see as game number 1 kicks off. We're on board with Mboy, and honestly, he's been a talent in his own right. One name who, when you talk about top 5 lists, I feel like he's made a name for himself so much this year. If you didn't know who he was, you definitely do now.
Absolutely. It's honestly, when you have the top 5 discussion, the dealer's choice of like, do you care about stats more? Do you care about just the blistering speed and aggression? If it's the latter, you're looking at Alex and you're looking at Envoy. If it's the former, of course, well, you got people that put up numbers all over the place. Right now, though, it is the Huntsmen in full force, at least inside the hill, though the Røkkr have done a very nice job of at least potentially flipping the map on its head.
Of course, this was a map that we saw Minnesota Røkkr have a lot of success against Atlanta FaZe. If you remember, it was a nail-biting ending. Went all the way to that final hard point. And Minnesota Røkkr able to steal it. Of course, Game 5, I believe it was. But for now, it's been in full control of this game. As finally, Minnesota Røkkr get their first few points on board. But keep your eyes on the minimap. It's all about rotations.
Yeah, the important thing right now for Silly, he's already won 1 big gunfight, but even if he had won the second, you can see Huntsman just with that close spawn would have swarmed over, and this is about as good as you could possibly ask for if you're a fan of Chicago. They have full control of, well, the old hill, and now full control of the new one as well. Assault trying to force his way in through the front. You can see, well, all the little minions running in front of him. Formal gives him nothing to work with. Of course, the SMG now in hands of Formal, that little roll swap coming in from Chicago, which so far so good.
Yeah, I was going to say, we didn't even have time to really mention it before the game started, but a little bit of a roll swap there. Formal feeling comfortable at 8-2 as he goes on a 3 streak currently. His teammates slaying out to their best ability. RC's currently 6-1, Gunless 5-3. No Chicago Huntsmen right now. This is the absolute perfect start. They're going to get the scrap time here as well. Minnesota Røkkr, you got to wake up, and you have to wake up very soon. You could not allow the Huntsmen to really build this big of a lead. Alex 1-7, struggling straight off the bat. Silly not too far behind either at 2-5. Need some increased productivity from those two.
I do love what we saw in the rotation, though, from the Røkkr. It was a tale almost as old as time at this point. Envoy finds a way to sneak through. 4 players from the Røkkr go and take him down. They're making sure they hunt him down. If they don't see him in the past 10 seconds, he's going to be behind you. But obviously, Huntsmen, very nice lead so far. The Røkkr are going to want to have a very strong hold. And while the Huntsmen trying to push their way through tunnel, they get dealt with by the assault rifle player of Assault. And, well, first push is going to be stuck.
This is a good time for Minnesota Røkkr. The first 30 seconds, they get all of it. Going to be crucial to bringing them straight back into this game. Of course, we'll keep our eyes on the minimap for the rotations. Unfortunately, Minnesota Røkkr now spawning out. Chicago will break into the hill and potentially claim the final 25 seconds as their prize, keeping the lead a sizable one. Be well over 75 points when we rotate through. As you can see, Gunless picking up that scrap time. GodRx is right around the corner, though. He may push for the final 5 or 6 seconds. As finally he wins that fight. Not going to pick up the scrap time, though. Instead, has to rotate, has to help his team.
And you can see Envoy once again trying to work his way all the way around back and does have a little bit of teammate support as well. You see Scump might be that leading man into the hill. Of course, though, you have to win the gunfights to be able to secure the break. 10 seconds have gone by, and it looks like the Røkkr just trying to stabilize because the pressure for the Huntsmen on the backside of the spawns is there.
GodRx inside the hill has to challenge Scump. Scump wins the fight. There was a team kill in there as well. A Seam actually fell, but for now, Minnesota Røkkr inside the hill. Can they pick up all the time, though? That's the question. Still 30 seconds remains on this hill as Alex struggles continue. 3-12, just 20 seconds hill time to his name as well. Billy, of course, fighting from the top stairs. He's not going to have that much success as Formal just jumps inside. Assault luckily to trade, and Minnesota Røkkr's credit, the first 2 hills chance were not pretty whatsoever, but they have fought their way back into game 1.
And this is kind of what I was trying to hint at the start, right? Like, GodRx is a player. He's going to get his. You're not really looking to shut him down. The expectation is he's going to be positive. He's going to have, at worst, a respectable game. Alex is the player, and Asim is right there next to him. You want to shut down the SMGs, and if they start having slow production, that's going to drag everyone else from the Røkkr behind. Either way, though, despite the very slow start from Alex, it's not that bad of a game right now for the Røkkr. Yes, they're down by 30 points, and the Huntsmen are in the hill, but based on just the stat lines alone, you'd expect it to be a lot.
I mean, if they can manage to break here and maybe contest that last 20 seconds of time on this hill, Minnesota Røkkr won't be in the worst position. Of course, Huntsmen definitely in the driver's seat as they have been since the very beginning of this game. Assault will find one, challenges the second, but it's Arstes that shuts him down. And it seems like in terms of the slaying category, Huntsmen just above and beyond Minnesota Røkkr right now.
And right now, not just the slaying as well. You see 3 players on the bottom left of the minimap, and now you're watching them all swarm from the free cam. Gunless and Arcides, a former duo who have also returned. Not quite T2P, but solid in their own respect. Have flanked all the way around and try to get these future back spawns. So right now they have, what, a 60-point, 70-point cushion that they've afforded themselves. As long as they play slow and play smart in the rotations, they don't even have to massively outslay anymore. And, of course, if they keep the slaying up, it'll be a nice, clean, and easy game for them.
Gunless just looking to see if he can try and find a freebie. Alex, of course, is not going to be that side on the hill, but the shots come down. Assault's going to have to make a play top third. Unfortunately for him, the flank comes through, but GodRx has flanked the flank somewhat, and he may be able to find a free double kill. He does so. Formal and Scump both fall, but he knows there could still be one more player around. It's Gunless down low. GodRx finds 3.
Found 3 as well, and he's going to need to get a couple more on this tear because, again, Huntsman, all the pressure in the world is towards that new hard point. Well, if he's throwing up these trophies here, that means he's ready to play defensively, but while he's doing this, his teammates over actually in the new hard point getting all the kills.
That was so smart from Assault, instantly able to pinch over towards the hill, but I don't think he's going to realize Formal's going to go for the push as well. He finds the kill. The trades come through. Minnesota Røkkr have the rotation. They were down sizably in the first half of the game, and now all of a sudden it looks as if they're going to get close to tying things up.
Formal though with the MP5, the new gun, and he's feeling comfortable. He's able to pick up 2, but no one else on his team is able to find literally anything. And you talk about the SMGs for the Røkkr maybe heating up a seam. You saw him just for a moment. He blisters up to a 5 spree, and the Røkkr, I mean, 30 seconds left on this hill, and just look at the Huntsmen, how far away they are. They might have to chalk it all
This
up.
is what Minnesota Røkkr do so well. They're a very resilient team. They can be down 60 plus points, and it doesn't matter. They somehow, some way, claw their way back into games, and they've done it here again. For the Huntsmen, this rotation is key. They need to win the gunfights that will follow shortly. Alex, of course, who started off so slow, hasn't necessarily increased massively, still almost double negative at 10 and 19, but he's being a nuisance now, a nuisance the Huntsmen must deal with, and finally they do. Huntsmen in control.
Huntsmen in control, but still down by 20. You talked about the tides turning, and now, of course, the Røkkr trying to force their way into bad gunfights. Scump is able to find 2 with the headshot feed, give him a 3rd as well. SMGs at different times, just starting to go on these streaks, and he's going to let it ride. Scump, the man who's been streaming nonstop effectively from day one. Nice little tear from the king.
Fortunately for him, though, he does fall. Now you're looking at Alex to maybe contest the final few moments, because unfortunately for Minnesota Røkkr, they do not have the favorable spawn. It was inevitable that the Huntsmen were going to fly straight back into the hill, but GodRx is still there. He finds 1. Minnesota Røkkr don't want to give up this time whatsoever, and in actual fact, they've won the fight for the scrap. That is a big advantage Minnesota Røkkr now will have. For the Huntsmen, you have to start off strong on this new hill.
Yeah, just one of those gunfights for the scrap time where you just win a one-on-one. You help buy your team an extra 20 seconds. Massive ones at that. And, of course, now the Huntsmen back very close to being against the wall. They have a nice little spread and quite a bit of map control as well. Scump pushed up very aggressive, gunless at the same distance across the map as well. But once Scump falls, you see the levee starting to open up just a little bit. The Røkkr starting to surge forward.
The fear here for Huntsmen is you cannot get broken early, because Minnesota Røkkr can win game 1 on this hill. Of course, for Huntsmen, they themselves cannot close it out here, so they can just hold on for another 15 seconds or so. They should be good to force a new hill, but Minnesota Røkkr being patient, and they know they can be. You don't have to overcommit. Keep your eyes on the minimap, though. Those rotations going to start coming in very early here from those purple arrows. Minnesota Røkkr gave up a ton of time there, Chance. A lot of time given.
Yeah, the Huntsmen are just going to be, what, 1 or 2 seconds away from closing out the game once it rotates to new. So, yes, the Røkkr are there early, but the Huntsmen have, what, another 20, 30 seconds to be able to successfully get this break. So, it all comes down to one final hill. Assault's going to be posted up. You already got Envoy, the man behind enemy lines, trying to find the first big kill. Assault, though, is able to shut him down.
Lord! Assault turns and burns. He finds the kill. And Minnesota Røkkr, they played a high-risk, potentially high-reward strategy. They rotate early. For Chicago Huntsmen, they need 2 more points. They're inside the hill. The contest comes through. Assault with another double, but Formal flies in now. Hill contested. Silly finds 1 as well. GodRx is there, but it's the king. It's Scump inside the hill trying to buy time for his teammates. Silly hits a flank. Now it's down to Alex to potentially reflank another flank. Huntsman in once again. If you're Minnesota Røkkr, you have to keep contesting. Huntsman need just 1 more point. There's the tick. Chicago win game 1.
Oh, baby. Clean and easy game 1 from Chicago. This is one of those that I desperately just need to go back and rewatch it at some point, because we saw Envoy, he's going on the flank, we thought he could make the play, and then Assault just shuts him down. But then the next moment, only thing I see is, well, the Huntsmen, they have, what, 4 guys with good spawns. Yep. They just had that easy pressure. And then as soon as I see that on the mini-map and they just need 2 seconds, eventually they're going to be able to break their way through. So if it wasn't Envoy, whoever got the spawns for the team, playmaking right now for the Huntsmen. Very happy for them to get the game number 1 win.
250, 239. We knew this series was going to be very close. That's a great way to kick things off if you're a neutral fan. That's for sure. But in terms of big picture, for maybe a few of you that are watching the COD League for the very first time, I want to talk a little bit about the Huntsman roster. Of course, many people will know the fan favorite. Chance, you refer to him as the king, as he was known for such a long time in terms of Scump. This guy's been playing since the very, very beginning. He really has. As long as I've been casting, he's been playing. He's been playing before I even started casting. He's just such a delight to watch every time we see him play.
I mean, he's won, what, a tournament in 8 different Call of Duty titles.
Pretty good.
Something absurd at
He's
this
pretty
point.
good.
He was great when he first started playing, and he has been, I mean, in my mind, when we talk about the GOAT conversation, you got to look at consistency as well, and he's one of the very few people that over the span of, again, as pointed out, at least 8 years, if not more, who have always been towards the top. So it's not just how good he is this year, it's his entire career that is genuinely just impressive.
And of course, and then on the other side, Minnesota Røkkr, a team which I guess when you looked at on paper at the start of the year, didn't really have many big names that made you think these guys are going to be big contenders. But the one thing they do have is fantastic teamwork, Chance. And I mean, this squad it seems like they improve every time we watch them play.
I mean, they're great. And again, one of the best things about this team is just how professional they are. Like, whoever designed this team had a very clear-cut thing in mind. If they want people that are going to be working hard, and you have to give credit where credit is due, they've been on point. I think when the roster formed, my one caveat was I was worried about how good Asim was going to be. I thought he was decent in Black Ops 4, but I wasn't sold too high on him. And he's been fantastic. And he's been so good that I've seen people that used to play with him in the past were saying, like, I didn't appreciate Asim for how good he was and how impactful he was on our team at the time. But looking back, I miss playing with a guy like that. So it's not just the guys throwing up numbers like GodRx. It's the guys doing the gritty work that are incredibly impactful and really make a difference.
I want to give credit to the players all streaming their face cams there. Except for Formal. looks pretty good. Fantastic. This online league, man. Give credit to production, man. Making it look fantastic as always. As game number 1, of course, done and dusted. Now we head to a game 2 at St. Petro. Search and destroy. And it's the Huntsmen with the advantage in the series. Chance, you see them potentially take the search and destroy as well?
Well, they are 2-0 on this map in St. Petro, and for Minnesota, it doesn't look as good, 2-3, but at the same time, they've played it 5 times on land. You know they've gone over repetition, so honestly, this might just turn into an information game of how many strats have they really flipped up in the past couple weeks to make sure their opponent can't just go and watch over all that VOD. And this is where, in my opinion, I think Minnesota needs to thrive, making sure that coaching staff is on point, mixing up the strats, and figuring out how to counter someone like Formal who's going to...
Yeah, but we obviously talked a lot about this in our first game of the day. When you play St. Petro's Search, that snipe on the attacking side can be so pivotal in terms of just winning a round. You get that first blood, it can open up the entire site. Unfortunately for Formal, he's not had success yet. 2 players have fallen already, though. And Envoy and Scump. Silly falls as well for Minnesota Røkkr, so Minnesota with the 1-man advantage.
I believe Chicago should know a player's nearby, and actually they don't. Gunless is going to get hit by Alex immediately. Alex is able to find 2, and no soap radio. There goes the round. The Røkkr, you talk about them needing a bounce back. They get it straight away. As good of a round as you can possibly ask for.
Yeah, fantastic way to try and bounce back there. As now moving forward in this search and destroy. Excited to see how this one is going to start to develop. Want to see a close one. Of course, the searches we've had today, we had 1 round 11 and what was it? 1 complete. That's a blowout Chance. So yeah.
Complete.
It's been an interesting day for us in search and destroys, but GodRx may find a potential pick, and unfortunately not the case. Almost though, very close.
Yeah, the routes that the Huntsman took right there made it very difficult to take this shot, but Alex took a different one straight in the line of sight of Formal, who, yes, he gets hit markered, but he will be very happy to get that first blood.
Formal isn't going to miss those. I promise you that. I'm quite excited to see if that sniper fight does continue. Formal versus GodRx. Yes, some cheeky angles on this map as now the kills go Minnesota Røkkr's way. Asim with a double. Scump and RCs both go down, but Formal again with the snipe finds the pick. Now we find ourselves 2 versus 2. Bomb, of course, yet to be planted. It is Minnesota Røkkr on the attack here. Time ticking, 40 seconds left.
And Asim might be quiet. Assault, I can't tell. Yeah, he popped Dead Silence as well. So both of these players are nice and quiet over on the rotation, but the Huntsmen, it looks like they have slowly sniffed it out, and obviously the bomb plant gives it away. Assault, though, the perfect angle. He had to have seen it.
Formal managed to somehow still cross, and unfortunately for him, he doesn't win that first fight. He's 1 shot. They have him pinned. There should be no way Formal wins this round. You just never know. And Formal's still alive, tagged up once again. Somehow still crosses. Assault peaks 1 last time. Round over. Minnesota Røkkr 2-0 up.
And talk about things you kind of want to go back and rewatch. I could have sworn Assault was staring at the door on the cross, and somehow Formal just managed to get past. But even when he does, you see him in the window, knew exactly where to look. And on top of that, Assault making the good plays and winning both gunfights towards the end. So St. Petrograd, Røkkr, happy to be here.
We'll say if Formal kills the seam there in the window, which he almost did, that round could have looked very, very different, Chance, but doesn't really matter now. Minnesota Røkkr 2-0 up. A great start from Asim 3-0. Assault also 4-0. GodRx trying not to team kill. Almost lined up a collat. Scump will go down. GodRx has done well just to stay alive. Asim flies forward. He shuts down one. Formal tries to flank, and unfortunately, that's just not going to work. Alex was ready and waiting for that to come through, and 2 players left now for Huntsmen.
After very long, go gunless all of a sudden, just in the 1 versus 4. He's able to find 1 pick, and he's able to get out with his life, and he does have 55 seconds to work with.
Chance.
So that's the good news.
I've seen Gunless win these. This would be an incredible way to get the Huntsmen their first round here in game 2. A 1v4. Now, of course, a 1v3. Time is starting to tick. Minnesota Røkkr with 2 players a day. 1 at B. Gunless can isolate one of these fights and stay alive. Might become doable. Just relying on killing 2 over at this site. Almost impossible. Minnesota Røkkr not going to let that happen. 3-0 now in game 2.
Yes, 1v3s are possible with a lot of time to work with, but still imaginably difficult to actually pull off because Alex, again, just has to sit here and watch one thing. Every single person on the Røkkr playing smart, not giving them any wiggle room. In another very comfortable round, honestly, from the Røkkr. You got the GodRx getting the first blood with the snipe, which he is prone to do, but just no mistakes. It is just very clean search and destroy gameplay. Again, the Røkkr, a well-oiled machine.
Surprised, honestly, GodRx survived last round. He was tagged up pretty heavily, but the kill he got to start off last round was the only one he has to his name so far. Not having too much success with the sniper rifle as he whiffs a shot there. Arstides does draw a first blood with a nade. Silly will fall. Advantage.
In full sight control for the Huntsman as well. GodRx is able to find a pick mid-map, and Scump is actually going to be tagged up from nades, which gives Asim the kill. So all that sight control might be all for naught, and with that smoke, Røkkr, they've gotten out of dodge.
Oh, we'll find out Envoy as well. Going to leave Arstides and Gunless in a 2 versus 4. We just saw Gunless in a 1v4. I think we may have just heard one of the Minnesota Røkkr players rotating out. Meanwhile, Arstides finds Alex. Gunless is searching, but unfortunately didn't see GodRx in that snipe. Arstides, now it's your turn for the 1v3. Asim, GodRx, and Assault still up. Unfortunately, they know exactly where Arstides is.
Able to find the first pick, and he does know how far away GodRx is behind him. Still, though, this is going to be an impossible gunfight to win. The challenge is there. It was a good college try, but Assault, that is an easy gunfight for him to win. As spicy as it was.
I was going to say, you say easy. That got a little spicy towards the end. Of course, you see there GodRx trying to hit that flank as quickly as he possibly could. The second he realized his teammate was in danger, he had to spring into life to help. Assault didn't need the help, though. Won the gunfight himself. Had a big advantage in that fight, but speaking of big advantages, 4-0 now here in game 2. Minnesota Røkkr starting to run away with it. Envoy and Scump both 0-4 as things stand. Formal 2-4 as is Gunless. Arstides currently fragging for the Huntsmen at 5-4.
Mixing up strats as much as possible. You got some smokes out, and Envoy hunting down the first blood goes their way. Even still, they've had first bloods in the past and no success. And look at the feed. The Røkkr just like that, suffocating the Chicago Huntsmen.
Formal and Arstides still up though, and Formal not for much longer. He's able to find one before he fell, and Arstides turns around and there's several Minnesota Røkkr players flying right at him. This is a very convincing game of search and destroy from the Minnesota Røkkr. You mentioned a few rounds prior that they look like a well-oiled machine. Probably the best way of explaining this team right now.
Oh, I feel like I'm a basketball player right now. I feel like I just set a lob to the Røkkr coaches of saying before of like, hey, they need to make sure they have the game plan, make sure the strats are like on point to perfectly counter the Huntsmen. I set the lob up and they slammed it down, at least so far.
At least in the search, you know, the search.
Not trying to cast their curse in it. Yes, the search, specifically S&D.
The hard point, of course, did go in the Huntsman's favor. Close, though. Give them that. And Scump still searching for his first kill. Will it come here? Player close left, and unfortunately for Scump, he's not going to find that pick. That puts him at 0-6. The trade is there, though, on Arcides. 4v4 for now. Asim just launches himself forward towards Arcides. Gunless tagged up as well. Should be dead to right. The stun comes through, and Minnesota Røkkr are flying straight at the Huntsman.
Flying at the Huntsman, but Asim, though, in a tough spot. Finally, the Huntsman might be able to get around on board. He does have bomb, but he's also being hunted. Envoy is going to be the man on the chase. Asim wins the first one. Envoy, you got to go even faster to catch up to the man, and eventually finds him and shuts him down for the Huntsman to finally get around on board.
Asim was quick, just unfortunately for him, not quick enough. I thought for a minute, if he got out that door, maybe there was a chance. Just maybe timing somehow changes in his favor. Not the case. The Huntsmen get their first round on the board here in game 2. Still a massive mountain to climb, though, and they want to go 2-0 up in this series.
Got their first round on board. Of course, Scump's still looking for his first kill. So preferably for the King, after all the kind words, to not drop the donut and join one of the maybe 6 players that have dropped the donut so far this year.
Yeah, there's been a few, probably more than there should have been, but we'll see if he can find that first blood or a kill, his first kill, in round number 7. As the round slows down to a snail's pace now. No one moving. Huntsman, of course, on attack. Keep your eye on number 9 on the minimap, top of your screen. That's going to be Assault. This is what he sees. He's really in charge of making sure no one from Huntsman can cross over towards that B site, but more than likely, if he does get a kill, you'd expect it to be traded out instantly. His teammate's going to have to be fast on rotation. Never mind. Doesn't even have a chance to get a kill.
And now the question is what the Huntsmen are going to do with that information. You kill the man you know usually guards B. Do you want to commit and flood there? Do you want to continue to play for picks? Players getting caught on rotation. Now with 5-3 man advantage for the Huntsmen. Round's looking good for him so far.
Arcides will also win that fight against Silly. Makes this a 5 versus 2. They have full site control. Asim goes down as well. Good luck. Have fun, Alex. And 1v5 against Chicago Huntsmen. Really, no way he should have any chance of doing this, especially considering Bomb is down. For him, it may just be pad a couple of stats here, Chance.
Pad some stats, get a couple kills, but really just a very nice strategical round coming out from the Huntsmen. Is not only did they identify Assault, make sure you kill him just with the utility, the nades on point, but then to not overcommit to anything, not rush into anything crazy, just wait for those players to get baited, wrapping out of sight, and kill them on the rotation. And of course, if you saw the way Arcides was shooting, it certainly doesn't hurt either. Very, very straight, Ben.
Very straight indeed. Known to expect that from a player of his caliber. Huntsman hanging on dear life here in game 2. Scump still looking for his first kill. Well, at 0-6, but in reality, he won't care too much about those stats if they were somehow to come back into this and win the game. Formal down for first blood, though. Not looking good for the Huntsman.
Not looking good for the Huntsman, but at the very least, they do have site control over A and B, and Envoy is behind enemy lines, trying to go over top.
Oh!
Someone's opening the door, but Envoy's saying hello. He's able to get 3, Ben.
That was a weird sequence of events, and he finds a free double kill, and Alex and Asim turns and shuts down Assault as well. A big turn of events. Now Arcides, Scump, and Gunless up. It's Røkkr and Silly. Huntsman, the driving seat of this round, and Røkkr not really with ideal weaponry. He must have a sub in his back pocket. Try and make use of. Gunless, I believe, spotted the cross. May find one with the nade. Silly's already out. Gunless spots him. Silly one-shot. Silly! Oh, my lord.
It's all over, Ben. Don't worry about it. Round's over. No big deal.
No. Okay.
Former teammates, Silly and Gunless. I'm sure Silly will be happy about that one. Gunless, not so much.
That's okay. That happened. All right. Still, match point Minnesota Røkkr for game point Minnesota Røkkr 5-3. But the Huntsmen are hanging on. I believe Scump also gets his first kill. We've got 2 last round, so 2-6. He levels Gunless in just 1 round. Gunless underperforming 2 at 2-7. We'll see if potentially GodRx can find a first blood here. To be honest, 5-0 comebacks don't happen very often, Chance. There's been very few that have ever happened. This could be a crazy first day back at the COD League.
I was going to say, I think we've only had, what, maybe 2 or 3 ever? And obviously we call them full sales in Call of Duty because of the original time that it happened on LAN. For the newer viewers, full sales when you're down 5-0 and win the next 6.
Yeah, I believe Aches has been a part of both that have happened. He full sailed and got full sailed. So, a little sat there for him, but back to this. Still waiting for the first blood. GodRx in his very typical sniping spot. Being down B Street. 2 players from Huntsman there, and Envoy sniffing this out. He may just flash push this. I don't think GodRx is going to have any idea that he's even here. He won't. First blood for the Huntsman.
And 25 seconds only left on the clock, and Gunless was the man that was pinned down by the sniper, so he's got to hightail it over towards B, but obviously Envoy being behind enemy lines is a massive problem that the Røkkr has to deal with. 15 seconds left. Røkkr just can't let him plant, and there's the bomb guy fall.
And Assault's been so sneaky. He's managed to get out with his life. Unfortunately, though, he's been hunted down. Only 5 seconds left. It doesn't matter. Everybody's dead. Huntsman, 4 in a row to force a round 10. Somehow surviving from a well-oiled machine. Minnesota Røkkr in the first 5 rounds. They are crumbling before our eyes.
Crumbling before our eyes indeed, and Envoy has been the playmaker, whether it be a 3-piece to open up the round or just making sure that his bomb guy can get away from the sniper. I do not know how Envoy is always on the other side of the map behind enemy lines.
It's impressive, though.
But he's always there.
I mean, he's 12 and 6. He's having a great search and destroy performance. But now, Minnesota Røkkr back on the attack, looking to try and close it out here. Do not let this go to a round 11, but Scump gets first blood. The nade connects with a seam. 5 versus 4. And guess who's on the flank again? It's Envoy.
And he knows. He is getting away all the information and the kills, and he gets the second on Assault, Ben. Envoy has been a man among boys.
I cannot believe how easy he has made this look. From 5-0 down, Huntsman claw back round after round. A round 11 now on the horizon. Gunless, of course, with the final kill. Somehow, some way, what looked like it was going to be a blowout search and destroy goes the distance. You talk about momentum. Well, Huntsman with all of it, Minnesota Røkkr with none of it.
You know, if I remember correctly, GodRx did an interview, and he was asked about his top 5 players. I don't think he had anyone on Chicago in his top 5. Envoy trying to make him rethink that decision.
I mean, he's fantastic talent, that's for sure. Minnesota Røkkr on the attack here in the round 11. Can they turn things around? Well, no, there's a first blood for Gunless, and I think the Huntsmen are trying to just soar forward. Silly will stop Scump's progression past the A site. Arstes is hanging back, playing slow. 4 versus 4. Gunless, who fell in this exact position a few rounds prior, will take a few shots and wisely back away. Doesn't want to get naded. Doesn't want to give away his life. Nothing. 50 seconds to go. Still 4v4, and everyone from Minnesota Røkkr is in the A site. Alex will find one. Arstes goes down. Is this now the potential opening Minnesota Røkkr need to close out this game?
Outside control, and the bomb is going to get planted. Now the deal is on the Huntsmen to try to get this retake. Gunless pushing up top with the M4, wins the opening fight.
Not quite sure how, I'm going to be honest, Chance, but Gunless levels the playing field. 3v3. I can't believe it. Envoy, you've been a hero throughout the entire game. He's on the bomb. The defuse. Minnesota Røkkr, you gotta check it. Full sale happens again. From 5-0 down. Chicago Huntsmen win 6 in a row. You don't see it very often, but welcome back to the Call of Duty League. What a day of games we are having so far. I cannot believe we just witnessed that.
I am on the same page. I do not know how. I do not know why. That was how many rounds in a row did Envoy just make the play?
All of them?
Did he go on a flank and open it up? Did he hop the bomb and get the defuse? He doesn't even need to get the kills to make the play, Ben. That was one of the single best performances in Search and Destroy, at least for the final 6 rounds, that we have certainly seen so far this year. Envoy, I mean, again, if he's not in your top 5, there's the argument.
14-6. Last round, hops the bomb to defuse. I mean, that's not a play which is easy to even call, let alone commit to. But they commit to it. And again, that was a 5-0 lead Minnesota Røkkr had.
And they look so
they
good
looked
in those
incredible.
first. I mean, they were. There might have been a caster curse thrown in there in the mix, but I don't know, man. The Minnesota were one team the first 5 rounds, and the Huntsmen just, I don't know. They flipped the switch, Ben. That's all. They just flipped the switch. That's bad. That's so bad. It's good.
I mean,
if you're a Huntsman fan,
that was absolutely incredible. I mean, as it stands, Huntsmen go 2-0 up in formal in game 1. Played lights out. We'll take a look at our Scuff Gaming play of the game from game number 1. We didn't have time to take a look at it after the hard point, but I mean, Formal played lights out there. He has an 8 and 9 performance in the Search and Destroy as well. But I mean, if you're talking search gens, there's only one person on the Huntsman that we're even gonna mention. It has to be Envoy. He was incredible.
I mean, like, give him a play of the game, right? And what round do you want to pick where he gets the play of the game? Is it the accidental screw his jump up and, like, someone open the door, all of a sudden, boom, 3-piece. The flank where he goes, just gets a nice kill to open up over to the site, boom, turns on another guy, 2-piece, opens up the round, or just a defuse. I don't know. Every single round, Envoy was a go.
Oh, absolutely. Fantastic way to start this series. Chicago Huntsmen 2-0 up, 2 nail-biting maps. We'll be back after this with Game 3. Better be.
Grubhub. Together, we can save the restaurants we love.
PlayStation 4, the official platform partner
stands, it's Chicago Huntsmen with a 2-0 lead. Chance, game 1 was very close. Game 2 didn't look like it was going to be close at all. Minnesota Røkkr pull away to a 5-0 lead before all of a sudden the Huntsmen win 6 in a row. I mean, you want to talk play of the game. There was so many that you could pick for our tactical play presented by the U.S. Army. Envoy just had a handful by himself. So many rounds you could pick from, Chance.
I mean, and again, these are all individual plays that can change the momentum of an entire series as a standalone sort of thing, or at least 2 of them definitely can. He just did 3 of those back-to-back-to-back in rounds. I mean, dragging his team behind him, making sure they get those wins. That was phenomenal Destroy game.
That was incredible. I mean, he has the ice in his vein, clutching up rounds, getting throws in rounds. Ninja. First of all, I want to point out, right? You're 5-0 down. You get to around 11 and you get first blooded, right? Instantly, you're thinking, oh, did we really do all that for this? Then to have, I guess, the confidence to say hop bomb, right? You haven't killed everyone and you go for a defuse like that. That requires a ton of confidence, Chance. It really, really does. I'm not sure who made that play call, whether it was Envoy himself.
I would bet it was, honestly. That would be my guess.
Nuts.
Like, when you listen to their comms a lot of times, he is one of the guys that will, like, help lead the charge and, like, tell people he's calling out and respawn where people are spawning. He does direct the troops. Maybe not always, but they're pretty good odds that was him right there. I would have to imagine, because who else was having confidence on the Huntsman other than him in that situation?
He's 14-6. At that point, he says, don't worry, guys. I'm going to defuse. Boom. Full sail complete from 5-0 down. 6-5 victory for the Huntsmen. I mean, we've had 2 game 5s today to start off the day. I thought this was going to be a close one. And honestly, in terms of map scores, when you look at it post-game, game 1 and game 2, incredibly close. But that should have been all tied up. That should have been a 1-1 game for Minnesota Røkkr. Instead, they find themselves down 2-0, heading into a domination next. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think you get so much confidence from that game 2, Chance. This might just be a 3-0.
And one of my favorite parts about this entire situation, not that I have favorites, I don't pick favorites at all, but when GodRx was asked who his like top 5 MVP players are like throughout the league, he went Wuskins, Octane, Alex, and Clayster, and I guess didn't give a 5th or whatever it was. But all the players he named, no one from FaZe, no one from Chicago, and if he is not rethinking putting Envoy on that list of top 5 at the end of this, I don't know what to tell you, man. I just don't.
Maybe that's why he only listed 4. He was waiting to see who impressed him for number 5, but a performance like that honestly deserves Envoy to be in that conversation. If he wasn't already, he might be now for many of you watching at home. But game 3, we go domination with the Huntsmen. Big advantage in the series, 2-0. Minnesota Røkkr, we mentioned just how much of a resilient team they are. I said it myself in game 1. For them now, this is where that resilience needs to come full force. Down 2-0 in a series, which really shouldn't be that way.
And of course, Minnesota Røkkr, we've given them all the gas in the world, are absolutely a team that can be professional and are able to like pull this off. But at this point, I don't know if it's really up to them. It might just be up to Envoy at this point. He's making decisions on what happens in game, but in terms of purely the gun runner domination, same thing I said about Ramaza. Chicago Huntsmen, don't believe we've seen them play this, at least not online.
We'll wait and see exactly what we're gonna get. For now, it's of course a tied game, 6 points to 6 with almost the first minute in the books. Finally, the B Hill capped up by the Huntsman. Envoy, the man of the moment right now on your screens after an incredible game 2 performance, looking to continue where he left off. Has to win that fight, does so. A seam will fall, and Huntsman can start building themselves a lead.
God, I feel like you just looked at Envoy and then time just kind of stopped at certain times just because of how good he has been. Still trying to keep up that production as much as possible, but Assault is going to shut down not just Envoy, but Gunless as well. A lot of presence over towards this B flag, but Formal's going to be there to respond. He's only able to shut down 2, though. And it looks like the Røkkr doing just enough to secure the B flag.
Yeah, Formal definitely seems to be settling into a new role. Seems very comfortable with a sub. I mean, Formal, at the end of the day, you expect him to be comfortable with pretty much anything. Doesn't matter. Assault rifle, submachine gun, sniper rifle. The man truly can do it all. As Huntsman neutral B. And look to recap it. Once again, marking a 2-1 flag advantage and try and build themselves that lead. For now, Minnesota Røkkr just down 1 point.
I was going to say, when talking about like the role change, it isn't that big of a theme for me just because of like the caliber of players that they are. I'm fine with RCDs being aggressive with a sub. I'm fine with him posting up with an AR, and the exact same thing can be said about Formal. Whatever they want to do on the map is fine by me, and I trust that they can have a turnover and take, what, maybe a day before they're comfortable into that role. Like, yes, you need a lot of experience, but I don't see either of these players really taking the time to make adjustments, so it's cool with me. Whatever.
And you've seen both players in their careers be versatile, right? So it's a comfortable change, that is for sure. As things stand, it's the Huntsmen with a 38-29 point lead, 2.5 minutes still to go in the first round. I'd love now to send it over to an Astro Gaming listening with the Huntsmen.
Got me, Silo, got me, Silo.
I'm rotating back left.
Dead, I got two.
He's rotated back wheel. He's wheel. He's on wheel. On wheel.
I'm made him.
Our side, he's better side wheel.
Sold dead.
I'm
I'm
blocking.
Two, one, two.
Oh, we gotta get A. We gotta get A.
One more,
We have to
one
get
more,
A.
I got one.
One is boxes.
Hey,
Front door, front door.
This guy,
Backside.
we gotta go back to C.
2A.
Go back to B.
Yeah, I'm going to B. He's completely open.
I'm pitching.
Going lockers.
Another one spawn here out.
I spawned out. That's good. One's for B.
Go
One's for
towards
B.
deep here.
We
Back
got
behind
B,
a
we
B.
got B.
Two on B.
I don't think so.
That's three.
Last side B.
Or one of
I'm
them.
B, Alex.
One force.
You go lockers?
Alex is fight.
He's oil.
I needed an oil pierce. I'm just
I'm holding your mid pierce. I'm just holding. I got a block C. You gotta get middle. Yeah. I have mid. Got him on C1 bullet. C1 bullet, silly. 2 on C. 2 on C. 2 on C, guys.
I got one.
Another one. Got blown up.
Sold some boxes. One's on B.
I'm trying to kill B.
Yeah, no,
I'm
watch
trying
out,
to
watch
kill
out.
B.
One more
Here.
I'm alive.
I spawn back C.
I spawn
Not
C.
B. I'm picking B right now.
I'm watch
We're
out.
going for C.
Yeah,
P3, I think.
I'm going back down.
P3 dead. Another P. Flat. Another one here.
Looking for one C, guys.
Behind team.
Are there pipes right now? Pipes.
I'm
Good job, Ivor.
I'm pushing up forest.
I'm pushing box C. Block C, please. Block C.
I got it.
Block C, because I'm pushing
I'm
box
wheel right now.
I have been.
Deep forest, one shot assault.
Billy got me boxes.
I'm helping B.
Once they
I'm
down.
I
have your ramp. They think it was. They're going B. They're going B, guys.
Yeah, I'm B.
So you get.
Stay on B.
They're rip assault. Top ramp.
Huntsman, of course, with the lead chance, but in the final 40 seconds, pressure from Minnesota Røkkr looking to undo all of the hard work the Huntsmen fought for in this first side of domination. The trip cap was so close to come through, but even so, with 30 seconds left, we may go into the second half all square.
And realistically, I think the Røkkr have to be ecstatic with how close this game is. At one point, they were being outslayed by nearly 20 kills, but the Huntsmen really just did a poor job of keeping that C spawn blocked. Like, yes, they were holding C and B, pushed up a lot of map control, getting a lot of kills, but pushed up just a little bit too far, and we heard it in the comms at least once of saying, oh, we didn't block the C spawn, I'm going back for it. And there was just a couple moments where the Røkkr were able to take the C flag for just enough time that then the remaining players off spawn could go and capture B. And when all said and done, a 1-point game for being outplayed by, again, 15-ish kills, the Røkkr have to be
I
happy.
thought it was going to be tied. It's a 1-point advantage, though. All that hard work the Huntsmen put into around about a 20-point lead, gone, nullified for nothing. Minnesota Røkkr, as you said, will be very, very happy. The one thing they need to make sure, though, as we go into the second half, they cannot get outslayed like that again, Chance, because you feel like those mistakes which the Huntsmen allowed into their game in the first round, they won't do that again in the second round.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things we talked about in terms of the keys to victory at the start was originally shutting down GodRx, which I then commented, maybe shut down Alex instead. Well, this time they've done a little bit of both. It's GodRx that's near triple negative. Of course, Alex not too high of production either, but of course, no one really for the Minnesota Røkkr has been getting a ton of kills. But as far as the opening break goes, the Røkkr don't have A or C, don't have B either. Not good looks right now.
Yeah, nice pressure being put on the map there from Chicago Huntsmen, really making Minnesota Røkkr think about everything now off spawn. And this is where domination can get what looks like messy, but you'll see the pros make the absolute perfect decision making. One of the best teams in the world, at least, will make the best decisions on exactly where they're needed on the map and exactly what time. From what you see backtrack over towards C. Knows there's going to be a couple of Minnesota Røkkr players there. Decides for now at least that it isn't the time to spring into life. B still neutral. Minnesota Røkkr will capture A. Still though, Huntsmen hold on to C. So just one flag held by both teams, and from a 1-point game already, Chance, look at the lead the Huntsmen have.
And finally, we're going to see fights over towards the B flag. It seemed like the entire lobby was just scared of it for some reason for, what, a minute and 15 seconds, but eventually the Røkkr go, oh yes, if we do get that flag and hold on to the home flag, we will eventually take the lead, and so they're going to be trying to accomplish exactly that.
B kept up. Now, once again, Minnesota Røkkr can chip away at a very, very small 14-point lead. The Huntsmen hold, but that's a nice kill feed if you're a Røkkr fan. 4 kills in quick succession. The neutral over towards C. Silly needs to be careful. This is going to have to be a neutral and run, potentially even find a kill too. Beautiful stuff from him, buying his team a little bit of time, and of course keeping Huntsman's points production to an all-time low.
Huntsmen, though, do have a lot of clearance over towards this B flag. It's really just Røkkr by himself with the MP5, and he gets shredded immediately. Gunless wastes 0 time. He pushes up nice and aggressive. His teammates can cap that B flag for free. Now he can just be annoying and try to spawn.
Yep, that's exactly the game plan. If he can at least find one more, it would be fantastic. Kill feed still green. Røkkr has been spotted, sniffed out by Gunless. He will fall. The trade was inevitable, but Gunless did his job and did it perfectly. Huntsman once again locking a 2-to-1 flag advantage, but pressure is being applied now over towards C. Formal with 1. Assault trades that out. Gunless off spawn should be able to find the kill. C should be decapped and once again under Huntsman control.
And I took my eye off the mini-map for a minute when we were watching Gunless, but you see all the pressure Chicago is putting on the left side of the map. They keep leaving that C spawn open, so the Røkkr will eventually just keep spawning behind them and try to neutralize that C flag on repeat. So the Huntsmen, if they're going to go with this strat, they need to make sure they keep the slaying up to the maximum, which, well, so far so good.
They're doing it pretty well thus far. Gunless is key to watch because, as you so correctly called, Minnesota Røkkr with 1 player spawning behind, Chicago Huntsmen will have to deal with the C flag once again. The big nuance to this playstyle that the Huntsmen are doing is you cannot lose control of B, and unfortunately for them, they have done. This now is where Minnesota Røkkr can apply a ton of pressure right back at the Huntsmen.
And for any Huntsman fans that are annoyed with that spawn, it is completely replicatable. We've seen it numerous times already. The players, pro players, know that that's going to be the case. So the Huntsmen, for whatever reason, just electing to not block the spawns, or maybe just a couple communication mishaps. But now they're putting pressure over towards A. They're tired of dealing with the C flag, Ben. They're going all the way across the map.
I think that decision is as simple as they just don't want the C flag. They'd much rather hold A and B, as they were able to really have the most success doing just that. Gunless evaporates Røkkr. Now just a 5-point lead, but Minnesota Røkkr still with 2 flags under their control. Envoy, the man of the moment in Game 2, looking to try and make the plays towards the end of Game 3. The lead just 3 points. A now neutral. If it stays this way, Chicago Huntsmen will win the series 3-0. But Envoy, you can see just the pressure he wants to apply at any point could collapse in over towards B.
And now it's Gunless, though. Gunless is the man responsible for C this time around, but he's not blocking the spawns. He's got to pick up the big kills, and he's got 2 players right behind, shoot him in the back, and makes the big play. That's how you handle the C flag. Gunless doing it perfect.
And now Minnesota Røkkr will spawn over towards A. The fight is important to be neutralized over towards B. It's Envoy. I think Chicago Huntsmen are playing this perfectly. Just the balance of rotation is in their favor. Archdies will find 1 before falling. 30 seconds. Minnesota Røkkr, they need the kills, and they need them now. Assault will find 1. Neutral over towards B. But the trades have to come through. Keep your eye on Røkkr. He's flying towards the C flag. Will he be able to neutral in time? He's not going to be able to do so. Gunless is there. B is still neutral. And chance, that might be that.
From land to online, Ben, does it make a difference? Maybe not to the Huntsmen. A dominant 3-0 win. Well, dominant is definitely a bit of a stretch, but they did get the 3-0, you know, as close as the first 2 maps were going to be. And yes, this one was fairly close in the end, but a convincing, I should say, 3-0 victory.
All 3 games, when you look at the score, very, very close. Game 1, Huntsmen really led from the very beginning. It got close towards the end. They closed it out. Game 2, Huntsmen 5-0 down. Somehow win 6 rounds in a row, win that one in around 11, and the domination. I mean, we go into the first half with Chicago really dominating most of that game with a 1-point lead, and they close it out with a 7-point advantage. So realistically, that's one of the closest 3-0s you're going to see in quite some time.
One of the closest 3-0s, and just taking a look at the scoreboard towards the end, Røkkr finishing off at 8-25.
That's rough.
So the nickname you gave him at the start, Ben, there's a reason why I was like, all right, hold on, hold the reins up just a
if you want to talk about caster curses, okay, let's talk about what you said in Game 2.
Let's talk about anything other than caster curses. Anything else.
You put some bad curses out into the world in Game 2, I'll tell you that much. But overall, a fantastic series. I think it's fair to say. Huntsmen, yes, they take it 3-0. If you're a neutral, you probably would have loved to see it maybe go a little bit further. The first 2 games of the day go the distance to a game 5. But despite that being a 3-0, it didn't really have a boring 3-0 feel, Chance.
No, not in the slightest. And again, I said dominant and retracted that statement immediately. As competitive as could possibly be. All 3 game modes really just coming down to the absolute wire, and just Chicago Huntsmen that series had the better playmakers.
Yes, they most definitely did. And one of the playmakers, and one of the playmakers you expect to see is Gunless from Chicago Huntsmen in terms of damage dealt. We'll take a look at our leaderboard there, but overall, Chicago Huntsmen, a fantastic result for them. We wanted to know exactly what we were going to get from them at this tournament. That's a great way to start. Another big team that you dispatch in 3-0 style. They're going to be feeling very, very confident in the future. Of course, we'll see them play again tomorrow. Still one more game to show today, though. We'll be right back after this quick break.